Joink. Beep beep. Welcome back to Tremors. This is part 3 now of the Tremors episode, Movie Mondays and that. So, parts 1 and 2, we talked about Tremors 1 through 4 in the television series. As far as I'm concerned, that is all that should exist in the Tremors franchise. Those were all written by Maddock and Wilson, the original writers, the guys who launched the franchise, the guys who very meticulously and beautifully brought all of these characters to life and these creatures and came up with the creature life cycle. The guys that are responsible for this franchise wrote 1 through 4 and the television series, and in my mind, almost spotless. Everything they've done is almost spotless. So, Tremors 4 came out, I believe, in 2004, and then there was nothing for the longest time. We were just devoid of any Tremors-related anything. There were always talks of a Tremors 5, but it just didn't happen. So the original writers did have a script in mind. I think it was just going to be called like Tremors 5, The Thunder from Down Under, or Gummer Down Under, or something along those lines. And it just never happened for the longest time, until finally, 2015 is when Tremors 5 came out, and here's where I start to hate the franchise because Universal decided they were too good for the original writers, apparently, and they wanted to move forward without them. They gave them, I guess, the chance to kind of work on Part 5, but it was a very insulting offer, and they weren't handling it with class, and they weren't giving the writers the respect that they deserved for having birthed this franchise. And so the writers either were pushed out of it or stepped away from what was happening because they weren't happy with how things were progressing. And so Universal took their original concept, their idea for Tremors 5, and turned it into what we now see, which is Tremors 5 Bloodlines. And so, I don't know, I was very excited for the idea of Part 5 until I started to hear what was going on behind the scenes, and I wasn't a fan of that. Like, treat your writers with respect, especially if they've given you gold up to this point. Don't act like they're expendable. Those guys are Tremors. They are the franchise. So, 5 came out, I watched it because I had to, and there are things about it that are fine. I'll say that. I think the parts that I'm okay with are probably the parts that came from the mind of the original writers. There's a lot about the movie I hate. The movie seems disrespectful to the franchise in general, how this new guy comes in, this new writer-director who hasn't touched this franchise before and just decided to do his own thing. And he started breaking all the rules and deciding the rules didn't matter anymore. The rules that were very specifically laid out in this franchise. In fact, I think the biggest insult to this franchise, start Part 5, it's Burt Gummer out there, he's doing his own survivalist little thing, which is kind of fun. He's like filming himself, surviving in the wild, and he's talking about the life cycle of the graboids. He's saying specifically, it is this, 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 this. It's the graboids, it's the shriekers, it's the ass blasters, it goes around, the dirt devils. He explains all of it. There's even a little graph that shows you how it works. And then they just throw it all in the garbage. They act like, okay, well, now we've shot that scene. None of that matters now. And so these new graboids show up. Why? Who knows? They're gigantic, and they don't look anything like they're supposed to. They have like teeth and like really stupid looking things that were designed by a different team. And they like, the ground blows up and like when they're coming through, and it's like explosions are being set off when these gigantic graboids that are like 3 times the size of what a graboid is supposed to be is coming through, and everything's bigger. There are even like ass blasters that show up for some reason. Like, why would you skip that life cycle that they just put in black and white? This is how the life cycle works, and you're going to start with the first step of the life cycle and jump right to the third part and skip what's in between. I don't know why they would do that. And then they have these giant ass blasters that don't look like they're supposed to either. They're radically redesigned, and they're crawling around, and they're doing weird things that don't make sense. And it really irked me as a diehard Tremors fan to see these things happening. Even though, yeah, there are some fun moments that came out of it, but again, I think some of the fun moments were probably just originally envisioned by the original writers. And they bring in Jamie Kennedy. You know, I'm not going to throw too much shade at Jamie Kennedy, but he wasn't my favorite on screen. The big twist at the end is you find out that, oh, Jamie Kennedy is now Burt Gummer's son. And, you know, just in general, 5 left a weird taste in my mouth. It didn't feel like a Tremors movie. Yes, you have Michael Gross. That's it. Like, that's kind of where it ends. The creatures look nothing like they're supposed to. They just, again, they were very disrespectful with the rules and just kind of doing whatever they wanted. And it's wrong. It's wrong for the franchise. I was very upset. Like, I waited that long. I waited, you know, this long for part 5, and then this is what they do. I was like, well, maybe there's room for improvement if they do make a part 6. Sure enough, they made a part 6, and it's called Tremors, A Cold Day in Hell. And this one is the one that I hate the most. I'm not even going to go off on a tirade as to why I hate it like the most. Just, it's so out of touch and just wrong. And again, the creature designs are the same stupid designs that they used for 5. This director had no idea what he was doing with the franchise. This one takes place in Antarctica. And one of the opening scenes in Antarctica has a bunch of stupid teenagers running around in bikinis and no hats. And, hey, it's Antarctica, ha 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 ha, let's run around in the negative 100-degree weather in bikinis, because that's how Antarctica functions, you know? Wrong. Why are you so out of touch, writer-director of Tremors 5, 6, and 7? Doesn't make any sense. The lighting is even all wrong. Antarctica is not brightly lit. You'd think that this was filmed in California, like everyone's running around with sunglasses and it's so brightly lit. No, it's gloomy. It's gloomy in Antarctica, like it is in Minnesota during our winters. It's dark, it's gloomy. You don't get bright, sunny snow days, especially if there's a snowstorm coming in and snow is central to the plot. You're not, I mean, it's little things like that that were just so off base and out of touch. It was like S.S. Wilson and Brent Maddock never would have done such a thing. And Wilson, I butchered their names, but you know, the original writers, they never would have done such a thing. And it's just wrong. And again, Jamie Kennedy is brought back, and it's like this movie was designed to irk me. Like, everything about A Cold Day in Hell was just, it just bothered me. And like, the rules they set in place is graboids, they cannot travel through rock. Well, Antarctica is ice. You're telling me they're going to burrow through something that's just as hard as rock? You're breaking the rules again. You're being disrespectful to the rules that were set in place beforehand. It's a frustrating movie to watch. I hated everything about it. Sorry, part 6, worst one in the franchise. Moving on to 7 now. 7 was a little bit of an improvement, but not by much. It's the same writer-director that's out of touch, doing his own thing, whatever he wants, with his own rules. And, you know, there were moments that seemed like, okay, they're finally starting to get it. And I was never won over by 7, but there were parts of 7 that I was like, okay, they're trying to recapture some of the things that worked in 1 through 4. But, you know, the movie overall fails on many levels, and one of those levels is, I'm just going to spoil it, they kill Bert at the end. Bert dies at the end of Tremors 7, and they go out of their way to assure you that, yes, we have killed Bert Gummer, and they even go and show you a little slideshow at the end of him in parts 1 through 6, like a little in memoriam of Bert Gummer. We're killing him. Why? Why are you killing the character that has carried this franchise? Like, they almost had me. They almost won me over at certain parts with Part 7. Then they go and kill Bert Gummer, and their whole house of cards fell apart. I was so upset. Why would you do that? And it was written in a way that Bert is going to go sacrifice himself for his son, is what it seems like. But Jamie Kennedy isn't in Part 7 for reasons I don't understand. So they took like John Heder, and they threw John Heder into that role, and they like briefly kind of rewrote it so that it's not the same character. But it is the same character, really. It's just played by John Heder now. And so it would have actually made sense if at the end Bert goes and sacrifices himself for his son. But no, it's this new John Heder character that, I'm sorry, the whole time has been annoying, and we just want that character to go away the whole time. Now Bert's going to go and sacrifice himself for this new character that we're just now meeting and want nothing to do with. Irritating. So irritating to watch. So this last one, Shrieker Island, should almost be the worst because they had the audacity to kill Bert Gummer at the end. But it was a much more frustrating watch, A Cold Day in Hell, just throughout. So those two are on the same plane of terribleness as far as I'm concerned. So if I had to rank these movies, I'll go through them all again. Number 1's the best. Number 2 is almost on the exact same plane as 1. Then number 4, then 3. Wide margin then by 5. 5 is way like down here, like barely even. 5 has the audacity to call itself Tremors. It's not even close to the rest of them. And then miles and miles below 5, 6 and 7, kind of on the same. Like, just, they're horrible. Like, how disrespectful those movies. So, that's the end of the current Tremors franchise as we know it. There is, however, a Part 8 that they're talking about right now. And here's the good news with Part 8. There's good news and bad news with Part 8. So, Part 8, the good news is that the original writers at Stampede Entertainment, they've reacquired the rights to Tremors, so they can do whatever they want now in good faith of this franchise and right the ship. The bad news is there's some legal battle going on right now between Stampede Entertainment and Universal and whoever else that has been holding this movie up for a long time now, like years now. And that's sad to see. We really want a proper Tremors follow-up. And I know these guys will do it. And actually, when I saw Bert Gummer himself, Michael Gross, at the convention, I asked him, if you could make any Tremors movie you want, no restrictions, what would you do with the story? And he told me, I'd like to do a big reunion movie. I'd like to bring back all of those characters, you know, from 1 and 3 and, you know, from everything, and just have them back. And then once again, they have to fight the Graboids one final time in perfection and just show that even though they're older, they still got what it takes to survive. And that's exactly what I want to see as an audience member. And it sounds like maybe that's kind of what Tremors 8 is supposed to be. And hopefully it sees the light of day. You know, these legal battles, they can go on for a long time. Both Freddy and Jason have been stuck in legal battles forever. And it's always some greedy, money-grubbing, like, I want my piece of the pie sort of thing. And, you know, just no one cares about the franchise that's involved. They just want their money. And that was definitely the case with Friday the 13th. There's no reason that should have stretched out as long as it has. We haven't had a Friday the 13th movie since 2009. And that's how long things have been stuck in this legal limbo. There was even supposed to be a sequel that came out right after the Friday the 13th 2009 reboot. And that didn't happen, and then the legal battle stopped it from happening, and it became a whole thing. So hopefully the Tremors lawsuit doesn't stretch out as long as like the Friday the 13th one. Luckily, the Friday the 13th one, it's been settled. There's a new Friday the 13th television series that's going to launch this fall. It's in October, I think October 15th, if I'm correct. So there is a light at the end of the tunnel with legal battles like this. So hopefully in our lifetime we'll get to see a proper Tremors 8, and they're even talking they want to get Kevin Bacon back, and I would love that to no end. In fact, Kevin Bacon did come back. Little side note, for one little Tremors pilot. He was going to launch his own Tremors show for the Sci-Fi Channel, but once again, Sci-Fi Channel dropped the ball. They saw the pilot and they didn't pick the show up, and the pilot has never been seen publicly. And all we have are stills and a trailer from said Tremors pilot that picks up, in real time many years after part 1, and Val is just kind of down on his luck, and it looked fun. It looked really fun, and it still has never been picked up by anything, and it's probably too late for it to be picked up by any network. Fred Ward was supposed to also have been back playing Earl one more time. Now, unfortunately, Fred Ward has passed, and we won't get that chance again. So, lot of stuff going on with this franchise. There were even video games. There was a canceled video game. There was an amusement park ride. It would be great to see another television series that's done properly. That's Tremors. That's Tremors. That's the whole franchise. I've recapped everything for you in a long-winded way. So, there you go. Is there anything else to say about this franchise? It's great. If you're watching it, watch 1 through 4, watch the television series, take 5 through 7 and throw them in the garbage. That's where they belong. There's the franchise for you. So, I think I've covered everything I can with the franchise. I'm going to do a quick little weekend recap before we wrap up for the day here. Let's see if I can find my video once again. Joink. Little recap again, there is us at the convention to meet Michael Gross himself there with that photo op and the graboid. Here we go. So this was this weekend. So speaking of monster hunting, this is me and my pals from the Minnesota Bigfoot Research Team. We went out to try to find Bigfoot this weekend. For real, not joking. They're new friends of mine now. We really hit it off this weekend, and I loved being on their team for the weekend. We went to a very specific spot where the Minnesota Iceman was found. In fact, this is where we're standing, right here, where the Minnesota Iceman was found. And we tried to lure Bigfoot. We tried to, make calls and do the wood knocks. And yeah, it was an amazing thing. This is my buddy Abe, and unfortunately, Pops could not make it. He was sick for the day. Sorry, taking a little sidebar here, and my buddy Joel, who they've both been on the team for a while, and it was good to be out there and try to find Bigfoot. Here we are at night, doing some calls, hoping that we could find something. And then the next morning, I found not Bigfoot himself, but my little bendy Bigfoot figure that I took on the travel with. So let's go back on cam, joink. There's my quick little weekend recap. So there were findings that came out of this mission. There's a lot of video evidence to look through. There's some audio stuff to look through. There's some pictures to look through. I'll tell you what, though, with my own ears, I heard Bigfoot. We did a Bigfoot call. We heard a response. We heard an actual Bigfoot response. It's one of 2 times in my life I've actually had a Bigfoot experience. They call it a Class B experience, where I didn't see him, but I either heard him or was in close proximity to Bigfoot himself. So we're going to go out again at some point, and in a future episode, I'm going to have the actual Bigfoot research team here, and we're going to do a full episode on it. We're going to go through our findings. We're going to look at their past. We're going to look at their future, what events they have coming up. We're going to look at their evidence. We're just going to get to know them. It's going to be a fun Bigfoot-centric episode coming up in the future here, a little closer to spooky season. So keep posted for that, please. And as for what to expect next week, a very magical movie I'll be covering next week. One I was low-key thinking about doing for today, but then I saw Tremors is back in theaters. I'm going to squeeze this one in. I'm going to do the Tremors episode first. Then we'll do that special magic episode. This movie is celebrating a big anniversary this year. One of my favorite movies. It's one of everybody's favorite childhood movies. It's just great. It's one I've wanted to do for a long time. It's a costume I've wanted for a long time. And the costume's in. I was wearing it this morning. I was walking around singing the song. It was great. So there's your little tease for next week. And that's it. That's all I got for you. I've wasted enough of your time for today. So thank you for tuning in, my friends. And until next week, stay spooky, my friends.